Why were you ashamed of yourself like never before? When I was a little kid, probably first grade or so, I remember being super mad at my mom for something. That day, I was using a coffee tin to trace for circles. I would then use the circles to make faces. Then I would color in the faces. I did them for my dad and my siblings and my teacher. Then I did one for my mom. And when I was showing her, I took a red crayon and drew a big X across her face on the page. I was angry. I don't even remember why. But I will never forget the look on her face. It was like I destroyed her soul. She was just so defeated and sad. Not like a play sad, like real sadness. Looking back at it with adult eyes, I am sure she was frustrated being a mom of multiple kids on a one-income household, and there is no telling what was going on in her marriage at the time. Plus, that was about the time she lost her father, so I know it was a difficult time in her life and that she didn't need that kind of bullshit from me. So when I drew that X, I think I actually hurt her in some way. That was almost 40 years ago, and it still makes me ashamed to think about it. It's funny how certain memories from your early childhood are burned into your brain and the rest just disappear. My mom had little pictures of me in a jewelry box on her nightstand. We weren't a warm picture-having family, and I shouldn't have even known they were there because I invaded her privacy. I got mad one day and ripped them in half of 10 or 11 years old and found her crying over the pictures 2 weeks later. She died last month and I'll never forgive myself. Yep, I've unintentionally hurt my mom's feelings as a kid with no filter, except I was like 10 or 11. It was right after my parents' divorce and my mom and siblings and I moved. Mom made enchiladas for dinner one night, and they were quite good, if I remember correctly, but there was something missing. So later on, she asked how I liked them, and without thinking, I blurted out, "Dad's enchiladas are better," and ran back upstairs to my room to play video games. Come back downstairs a little later, and Mom's crying on the couch. It was at that moment I knew I fucked up. This one's just brutal. I remember a time my child said something very intentionally hurtful to me, and it stung like hell on a personal level. He was old enough to visibly regret it almost immediately when he saw how much it hurt me, and his friends couldn't believe what he said to his mom. On a mom level, I do think about it from time to time. Mostly, I think about how I saw him learn a lesson about cruelty with me, someone who will forgive him unconditionally, and hopefully it will prevent him from making that mistake with someone he loves who might walk away if he acts so cruelly. It hurt, but don't forget moms know your heart. They know you're humans in process. When I was 12 or 13, I used to steal money from my grandma. I used to take advantage of the fact she was old and not very mobile and take money from her purse or from an envelope she kept in her wardrobe. Not huge amounts of money, perhaps 150 pounds in total, spread across a couple of years. She was the loveliest, kindest person I ever met, and I never heard her say a bad word about anyone or complain when she was in poor health. The worst part is, I think, that perhaps she knew but wouldn't have said anything as she wouldn't have wanted to get me in trouble. She passed over 20 years ago. I was with her when she went. I'm 47 now, but still think about it often and am so ashamed of it. I was never the most patient person, and despite being late for things. My wife, kids, and I were going to walk down and hang out at a neighbor's house for the evening. They were taking forever, and my wife kept stalling and we were going to be late. I yelled at all of them to hurry up and proceeded to be pissed off the whole walk down. When we walked in, it was a surprise party for me. She was delaying because they hadn't finished the decorations yet. Felt like a complete piece of shit. This was 10 years ago and it still bothers me. Definitely taught me to be a more patient person though. Friends threw a surprise birthday party for me, and to ensure I didn't walk in too early, they got the kids from upstairs a bucket of filled water balloons and had them chase me around while they got set up. When I was 19, I fell for one of those fake check scams. My mom had to help me pay the bank $2,500. I've since paid her back, but I was so ashamed of myself. I had never broken down and sobbed so hard in front of someone. I was about the same age when I decided to fuck with one of those fake check scammers. I did decide to deposit the check, which I knew would bounce. I made sure to not spend any of the money that was falsely in my account and thought it would be interesting to see exactly how the process worked. Then, Chase cancelled my account for depositing a fake check and sent me a check for my legitimate balance. Wasn't expecting that shit. Somehow, I still got screwed over by the scammer even though I was trying to fuck with the scammer. Back in elementary school, my class, including me, I won't play victim here, made fun of the nice teacher so much that he started crying. I've never felt so ashamed of myself until that moment. I still feel like shit up to this day. I've never seen him again after elementary school, so I never had the chance to say sorry. When I was in the middle school, we had a computer science teacher that was extremely overweight and would do her makeup like Mimi from the Drew Carey show. She would come in every day with 7-Up Big Gulp cup. This poor lady was literally tormented by our class. Kids would scam the printer with fat lard and pictures of big gulps and stuff. One day, someone found her wedding photo online. This was like 2003-ish, and MS painted a bunch of stuff on the picture and then made every single computer background this photo. She had a total breakdown and ran out of the classroom, and we never saw her again. I still think about that poor woman and how terrible we treated her. What's even worse was that no other principal, guidance counselor, or whoever talked to us about how fucked up the entire situation was, and no one even got in trouble. If given the chance, I would absolutely apologize to her.